My favourite sort of food is the food you just pick at. And the wonderful thing about these rice paper rolls is that really you can eat them at the table as a starter or just outside with drinks. And you do need, though, a couple of things. Some rice paper wraps and some rice vermicelli, both of which I brought with me. And what goes inside is this wonderful tangle of herbs and bits of cucumber, which are, please, in the fridge, if you wouldn't mind, Claire. The other really fabulous thing about these is no cooking is needed whatsoever. A bit of soaking, a bit of chopping, then some rolling. So, these are rice vermicelli, by which I mean it's like pasta made with rice flour rather than wheat flour, really light and wonderful. And a bit of water from a recently boiled kettle, or even less recently boiled, means they will rehydrate, look at that, and just drained and ready for use. I mean, you could eat them like that and they are good. You can see why they're often called cellophane noodles. They feel lovely and soft. Ready? Just need to be drained. Now, a little dousing, just lightly seasoned, bit of soy sauce, my favourite things, fish sauce, love this stuff, and a bit of rice wine vinegar. Can you open this for me? Sorry, I'm being a bit of a girl.
Oof, this is tough.
Oh, thank you. Just intelligence needed. Mint and coriander. I love using Thai basil, but you can't get it everywhere, and coriander is wonderfully aromatic anyway. I want this roughly chopped because I want a bit of crunch, almost as if it's a salad leaf, and because it makes life easier. I think I'm about ready for assembly, and this is the bit where dexterity is required, and I might make you...
I think you better inspect what I've done so far, actually. I'm not quite sure about these spring onions.
They're absolutely fine. Can you take them in?
Should I mix?
But I'm coming over for a bit of dunking and rolling.
I remember about these noodles.
They are fabulous, aren't they? Now, what else do I need? A plate. Okay.
Okay. So what are you going to do now?
I'm going to do more or less exactly the same as I did to those rice noodles and just rehydrate. Very nice. And I'm going to leave it there for 1 sec while I get a tea towel because I think it's going to be wet work. Nothing wrong in that.
Okay.
Very neat. Okay, this is now perfect. They don't need very long, which is good. And I do them one at a time, otherwise I'm frightened they'll stick together.
Yes.
Now, I tear it off. A little bit in the middle. Okay, over, so it kind of seals it in. And then just roll it like this. I love the way you can see the herbs and pasta through. Yes. And then, well, I normally cut it in 4 because I've made a bit of a mess here. I think I cut it in 3, like that.
Oh. Not the easiest thing to eat. Oh my god.
Everyone always thinks I'm completely mad for saying that I like cooking on weekends that are meant to be relaxing, but I have to say this is my only way of finding a bit of space for myself. And besides, you can play the martyr slaving over a hot stove when in fact you've got everyone else doing the hard work like bathing the children. It's a very good scam. And added to which, this is incredibly easy to make. It's a Kerala fish curry, and I probably should say straight off that I have never been to Kerala or anywhere near, but the point about Kerala food, or all South Indian food, is that it is somehow fresher tasting, sour, and with coconut milk, different flavours in North Indian food. A couple of onions here, cut into thin half moons, bit of salt to stop them burning. And while they start frying, I'm going to go and get the fish. Use any white fish you want. I've used bream. 1.25 kilos thereabouts, cut into chunks. Want it thick enough to hold its shape while it's cooking. And it does take the barest moment to cook. And now a little bit of an operation. For this I need some turmeric, about a teaspoon here. Beautiful golden powder. And again, a bit of salt. And I wouldn't normally do this, but the trouble with putting your hands in turmeric is that you get stained yellow. It looks like you've got a terrible sort of 50-a-day habit. It's really worth doing this because this way the spices go deep into the fish. What I don't want is, nice plain white fish cooked in a curry sauce. I want everything bathed and immersed in loveliness. I mean, this gives a golden colour to everything, but it does have a strange sort of deep flavour of its own. The thing with all curries is about building up the level of flavours. Of course, now I have to get them off, but... So on top of these onions, a bit more spice. Again, turmeric, the same amount that was on the fish, in other words, teaspoon. Bit of ground cumin. I love the way this turns a deep ochre. Couple of more things for flavour and heat. Red chillies, too, and I like a lot of heat, so I leave the seeds in, but if you're in mellower mood, then just de-seed. And that's the fire, but there's a sort of deeper throated heat that comes from ginger, and this is about 4 centimetres or so peeled and cut into little shards. So if you can be patient enough, just cook, stirring for a while so that the flavours go deep into the onions. So while this is happening, the sauce itself, well, it couldn't be easier. A can of coconut milk and a tablespoonful or so of tamarind paste. I mean, you can buy the fruit dried and then you soak it in water and squeeze bits out. This is the easier option. And an old favourite, some concentrated stock, this time fish stock. Can't go anywhere without my little stocks. Now, I'm just going to make this up to the litre mark with some water from the kettle. Stir it together. Just pour it in. And that's it. So once this has come to the boil, I'm just going to immerse the fish, give it a few minutes, and that's supper ready. A little taste. I love the sourness of the tamarind against the sweetness of the coconut. And that's, frankly, all over by the singing, really. I'm going to turn it off and then go and say goodnight to the children. And then when I want to eat, because it could take some time, just need to reheat this, cook the fish in it for about 4 minutes, and supper's ready. Yeah?
What's this? Oh, I certainly am, yes. Oh, that's delicious.
smell is fantastic.
It is just
What
gorgeous.
the sourness.
Oh, it's lovely.
She upgraded.
And the fish is lovely. It's just firm and light. It's gorgeous.
It's so sour
Yes.
and sweet at the same time.
So I'm going to scoff a lot now, I think.
I love the Japanese way of eating cold noodles. I am aware that the notion of cold noodles is not exactly an invitation, but in reality there is something about that slippery tangle, mouth-filling, that is just wonderful. Those are soba noodles, which are largely buckwheat, which gives a lovely thick nuttiness to the pasta. I want some sesame seeds toasted while I'm about it. Just means scattering them in this pan and letting their flavour come to the fore as they get golden and slightly scorched. The noodles are cold, and so they have a dressing rather than a sauce, and quite a scant one. First being rice vinegar, lovely sharpness. But everything needs balance in life, and against the sharpness of the vinegar, a bit of honey, the same amount of toasted sesame oil, and a good splash of soy. The noodles are quite sweet actually, so the saltiness of the soy works very well. These just need to be stirred together gently. A few spring onions I need here, a little bunch is all. A bit of a shake to my sesame seeds. And the seeds look just about done now, lightly scorched and toasted. Quick final check here. Perfect. Quick drain, and then they need to be drenched with ice cold water just to stop them cooking so they don't go mushy. Tip the noodles, look at these beautiful pale brown strands, into the dressing you've made. Scatter the spring onions over them and of course the lovely toasted sesame seeds. Just toss everything together. It really is easier to use your hands. Also it feels lovely. In an ideal world you should leave the noodles to stand for about half an hour so that the flavours mellow and mingle, but it isn't absolutely necessary and to be honest not always entirely possible. When I make these for myself, I tend to eat just a huge bowlful of them, as they are. But if I've got some friends coming round, I love to make some seared tuna and gingery broccoli to go with. To make this old favourite of mine, tuna tataki, take a log of ludicrously ruby tuna, paint it with oil and mustard, and roll it in coarsely ground peppercorns to form a smokily hot crust. Sear the tuna in a really hot pan on all sides until only the barest edges are browned and the pepper crust is welded onto the fish. Cut into the finest slices you can and sprinkle with spring onions and twiggy strips of cucumber. To make my gingery broccoli, boil the tender leggy stems for the briefest of moments before plunging them into a bowl of ice water to stop them cooking any further and to keep their vivid green colour. I give this a faintly Japanese flavoured dressing of grated ginger, soy sauce, sesame seeds and a few drops of toasted sesame seed oil.